We're talking about the differences between the pathway of air and the pathway of singing. Now, the pathway of air is something that happens within your body. The air goes into your lungs through your windpipe and then comes out of your lungs through your nose and mouth. That actually happens. Now, the pathway of singing is more about imagining where the sound is going within your body and using that to good effect. Now, within your body, there are certain areas that resonate. So air then causes sound to resonate with certain areas of your body. So maybe we talk about the chest or the pharynx or the larynx area. The mouth is a really good resonator. Let's take each of those in turn. The chest is not a true resonator because it's not hollow, but there are certain sounds that you can feel around that area. If you've ever been to a concert, you'll identify with that. The larynx is the throat area where the voice box is located, and you can certainly feel vibrations there. The pharynx is the area at the back of the mouth, so including the soft and hard palate, and the mouth is the shape that your mouth makes. So if your mouth is open, you're obviously going to produce a louder sound than if your mouth is closed or very small. Now, the mask is this area all around here. And it's not an actual mask, it's an imaginary mask, but you can actually feel that vibrating as you sing and as you speak. Let's try just humming and holding the bridge of your nose. Should we do that together? So as you hum, you can feel this area vibrating. Let's do that again. And that's your mask area. Within the pharynx area, you have your soft palate and your hard palate. Now, you can raise that voluntarily, but it also raises, your soft palate raises involuntarily for certain sounds. Let's consider the word hello. Hello. On the O part, your soft palate is going up. Let's try saying that together. Hello. Hello. You should feel your soft palate going up as you say that word. Now, it's very important that you make sure your soft palate is raised to create the most open sound in the pharynx area. So you don't have to say hello all the time, but depending on what song you're singing, you must make sure you're creating an open sound there for the greatest effect and the greatest resonance. Another exercise you can do for your soft palate is to say the word coo, which really makes sure that part is raised. So you can incorporate that into exercises like coo, 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 wah, wah. Put another little sound on the end. Or coo, 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 la, la. So on the R sounds, your jaw is coming down, your mouth is opening. Coo. And on the coo sounds, your soft palate is opening. Now we're going to try an exercise called ning ah. And ning is a forward sound that you should be able to feel in your mask area. Ah is a more open sound and can have a tendency to drop back. So we're going to sing this, I'll demonstrate. Ning ah, 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 ning ah. And we're going to try and keep the ah as a forward sound that you still feel around here. After 4, sing with Deborah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ninga, 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 ninga.
Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ninga, 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 ninga.
Now we're going to try the same exercise, but a little bit higher. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ninga, 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 ninga.
Now Deborah's going to sing the song, O Lord My God, to demonstrate how all of those things work together. We need to remember that we're trying to find a pathway for the voice, not just the pathway of air. We know that the air comes in and out of our lungs, it does that naturally. but we need to find a pathway for our voice so the song is as steady and as consistent as possible. You need to be thinking about, is my mask resonating? Am I pushing that voice forward? Am I using good support? You have to have good support from the diaphragm. And am I thinking about focusing my voice and focusing the tone? Okay, so the verse of "O Lord my God" is in more or less about the same range. Let's listen to that by itself first. When you're ready, Deborah.
O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all thy works thy hand hath made, I see the stars, I hear the mighty thunder, thy path throughout the universe displayed.
So in the verse part, there's not much to think about in terms of range. It's all really written about the same few notes. But when we're approaching the chorus, there's that slight element of fear as a singer. Oh my goodness, the high bit is coming up. And what we don't want is to just drop out on that last note. So Deborah's going to sing the chorus and show you what we don't want to hear.
Then sings my soul.
Okay, so we don't want to hear that because the volume's dropped and there's that kind of panic mode that you go into and think, I can't make the note, I'll just whisper it. There's every opportunity for you to be able to sing that note if you put the right techniques into practice. So we need great support from the diaphragm. You must support the tone. You need a good breath so you can make it to the end of the line. And you need to imagine that the pathway of that song is going up and up inside your head. It doesn't really do that, but that's the pathway of singing. So we're not grabbing for the high notes and hoping that we make them. We're actually controlling those notes and using the techniques we have learnt to sing them really well and confidently. Let's listen to that whole chorus again. I'll count you in. 1, 2, 3.
Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art.
You can see that was loads better. Each note had its own volume. Deborah didn't cut out suddenly on the high notes and go all breathy. And the pathway was that as she reached the top note, there was no drop in volume at all. Now you're going to sing along with Deborah that verse and chorus and try putting those techniques into practice. I'll count you in. 2, 3.
O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hand hath made, I see the stars, I hear the mighty thunder, thy path throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to
singing songs in a key that I haven't sung them in, or new songs, I find quite difficult to pitch. So for me, the best practice I can do is just sing the song over and over again. It's the same lesson I was told when I was 8, just starting to play the piano or singing in the choir, and again in my teens when I learned to play guitar. Practice, practice, practice. The more you do it, the better you'll get.
Okay. I think there's a few challenges that I face. One of the things is when you're traveling to other countries where they don't speak English or sing in English, shortly before I start, I'm always a little bit nervous, hoping that I will be able to connect with people, because that's really important. And a lot of people, English is their second language, so they understand a little of what I'm doing. But nonetheless, you realise there's a barrier there. So I find as I travel internationally that I really have to work hard to remember that these are people who don't understand English as a first language, and try and make allowances for that. The other thing as well, if you are planning on travelling to other nations, is learn to sing in the language of those nations. So I've done a lot of travelling throughout Germany in the last few years, and I incorporate probably 5 or 6 songs into my set which are German, and people really appreciate that, even if they know you're not singing too well, and even if they would prefer some of the songs to be sung in English, they still appreciate you having a go. So over the years I've found myself singing in Spanish, in Italian, in German, in Korean even, in French. And I would recommend any of you that are going to travel to other nations to make sure you start to learn some songs in those languages as well. So that's one of the challenges. It's all about communicating with people. Here's another thing. From a worship leading point of view, we live in a very consumer-oriented society, and a mentality that really can creep into our corporate worship is that it's all down to the professionals out the front to make something happen. And I've been leading worship now for over 30 years, and I know that I cannot make a congregation worship. I can't lead a congregation of people that aren't worshippers. I can't just press buttons. I can't just press buttons and make something happen. Really, when we come and express our worship in song, we're all in this together.
If you're singing in groups in your setting, you're probably using harmonies when you sing. Harmonies add colour and texture and depth to any song, but it also makes sense to know how to use them and how not to clash with other singers, how to make the best of that skill. We're going to be talking about harmonies in terms of where the melody goes and how harmonies match with that. So lines of harmony, lines of melody. You don't need to be able to read music to do this. You just need to be able to imagine where the song is going. Does the melody line go up? Does it go down? Does it go in jumps? Does it go in steps? How is it working, and how can your harmony fit better with that? This is going to be demonstrated on the screen so you can see exactly what we're talking about. We want to make sure that as singers we're not always saying, this is what I always sing, take it or leave it. I always do the low harmony. I always do the high harmony. I want you to be more versatile than that, to be able to see where the harmonies are going and to be able to maybe jump in and out, to be able to sing the melody for a while and then go for a harmony after that. It would be much better to be versatile than to be stuck in what you have always sung. Before we get to talking about the lines of harmony, we're going to be doing some pitch exercises. Now this is Ben, he's joined us today because we're also going to be looking how more than one harmony joins together. So to start with, let's do some pitch exercises. So Ben, can you play me a C? And I'm going to sing a third above that. La. Now we're going to do that same thing again, except this time I'm going to sing a third above and Deborah's going to sing a fifth above. La. Okay, now let's try that with a different note. Could you play us an A? La. Now you try that. Can we have the A again? So hopefully you sang either the third or the fifth, and this is what the whole chord sounds like. Right, let's try that once more. Let's have a D this time. La. And now you try singing either the third or the fifth above that D. And here's how the whole chord sounds. Great. We're going to use the song What a Friend I Found to demonstrate how these lines of harmony work. So to start with, I'm just going to sing the melody through, and you can see on the screen how this is working in terms of its line. Okay, thanks, Ben. What a friend I found, closer than a brother. I have felt your touch, more intimate than lovers. So hopefully you could see how that worked with the line of the melody. When I was going up a step, the line went up. When I was going down a step, the line went down. And it's quite an easy way to see what's happening without being able to write it out in note form. Now we're going to sing that song again, but Deborah's going to add a low harmony. And as far as possible, her harmony is going to follow the melody line. She's not going to start suddenly singing high, and if she needs to, she can join the melody line, but it's going to be about the same pattern. Okay, thanks, Ben. What a friend I found, closer than a brother. I have felt your touch, more intimate than lovers. Jesus, Jesus, friend forever. Now we're going to add another harmony. The harmony that Deborah was doing was quite low for most girls. You may be able to reach it. But we're going to add a harmony, so Ben's going to be singing the melody and I'm going to be singing a high harmony. Now once again, I'm going to try as far as possible to follow the line of the melody. So Ben will be singing what you've already seen on screen, and now we're adding another one, so it's 3-part harmony now, 1 melody and 2 harmonies. What a friend I found, closer than a brother. I have felt your touch, more intimate than lovers. If you've got a male singing the lead and you've got women only singing the backing, That's sort of what you'll be aiming for. Now, as you probably heard, the high harmony that I was doing cuts through, so if you're singing high as a girl, you need to make sure that you're not powering over everybody else and that you're just pulling back slightly on that so it doesn't overpower the melody. So now Ben and I are going to swap parts. I'm going to sing the melody and he's going to sing the high harmony, and Deborah's going to stay on the low harmony where she was before. And as you'll be able to see on the graphics, the lines still more or less match each other. And neither Ben or Deborah are swapping over into each other's parts. They're making really sure that they're singing different parts, and so they're not clashing. Okay.
What a friend I found, closer than a brother. I have felt your touch, more intimate than lovers. Jesus, 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 friend forever.
Now we're going to sing the whole song all the way through. I'm going to stick with the melody, which is what I was singing before. And for verse 1 and chorus 1, I'm going to sing by myself, so you can have a chance to practice your harmonies along with me. Then for verse 2 and chorus 2, Ben and Deborah are going to join in again, and you can either sing with them or sing your own harmony. Just try to make sure that your harmony line matches the melody line as far as possible and doesn't cross over into another line. Okay, thanks.
What a friend I found, closer than a brother. I have felt your touch, more intimate than lovers. Jesus, Jesus, friend forever. What a hope I found, more faithful than a mother. It would break my heart to ever lose each other. Jesus, 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 friend forever.
Yeah, when it comes to harmonies, I think that less is definitely more. I think it's one of those things that is great to just enhance key moments in the song, but it's a bit like an electric guitar solo or like a drum fill. You don't want that to be happening all the time, otherwise you miss out on the fact that it's actually a really cool moment. So if you're a background vocalist doing harmonies, imagine that you're there to create certain moments during the song and the set, rather than seeing yourself having to necessarily play or sing all the time. So I'm a big fan of bringing in a vocal harmony on the second verse and bringing in a vocal harmony on the chorus. And maybe on the chorus you want to come in with like a high harmony because it really lifts it and makes it a big section. So Yeah, harmony's awesome. Just know when it's appropriate and when it's not. It's also really nice sometimes if you continue a song at the end and the people are just singing more vocally. It's a great time to bring in some harmonies. There's a song, How Great Is Our God, the Chris Tomlin song. I love that song when, often when I finish leading it, I'll just have the people keep singing it over and over. And if you have a background vocalist on stage singing out some harmonies, it encourages the people in the crowd to actually try and sing their harmonies too.
Regarding harmony and working with your background singers, in my rehearsals at my church, we have the singers show up before the band because it takes a lot of time to actually make people sing the harmony that they're supposed to sing. And churches are just notorious. You've got a couple of singers and they're constantly going from the tenor to the alto to the melody part, just back and forth randomly. And you know, there's moments where that's cool, but a lot of times it just sounds like chaos. And so we work very hard so that the tenor part and the alto part, for example, they don't go onto the same note, but they're constantly doing their own separate notes. And you know, having a really strong vocal team that's not performance-y, but very worshipful, and they just love God from their hearts, and you can see it. But if they can really worship the Lord but have very powerful and concise vocals, it's going to encourage your congregation to join in and really worship. So we work really hard on that. And another thing we've done recently is we'll take all of our, not our best singers, but our kind of medium range singers, and we form we call it a mini choir. We have about 25 people on one of our weekends, and we work hard with them. But man, they love to worship God, and it's a real win every time to have them working out the parts and hearing. You know, I realize having a choir is like a very old school mentality, but if you think of it more as an extension of your worshiping church or congregation, then they can just be, really all it is a group of powerful worshipers that are worshiping with dynamic harmonies, and it can add so much. So I highly recommend working hard on your vocals. And some of you who are worship leaders yourself, you really might need a person that helps you with that and who's kind of your vocal person, but I encourage you to work hard on that.
Use your body and eyes to conduct. If you're in some kind of worship band, then the other musicians are very often going to be looking at you in the song as to where the changes are going to occur between, say, verse and chorus, or maybe go to an unexpected section. You've got great tools in the way that your facial expressions are and the way that your body movements are to be able to direct those musicians for those unexpected changes. So think about, for instance, when a song gets a little bit bigger, how you normally in your body you'd maybe sort of step up a little bit, or maybe when it's getting a little bit softer, you perhaps kind of crouch down. And use those movements and highlight those movements, maybe do them even a little bit more than you naturally would, to direct the other musicians so they know exactly where those changes are occurring and be able to follow you in time. One thing to be aware of, if you're going to make changes in the song, so for instance if you're going to go from a verse to say another verse where normally a chorus would be expected, think about making those changes a couple of bars just before that change would naturally occur. So a couple of bars maybe just before the end of the verse. That way the musicians will know to anticipate what's going. So for instance, say if you're going from verse 1 and then you go straight into verse 2 and you make it a little bit quieter, think about maybe crouching down a bit or doing something with your eye movements so that when that change actually occurs, the musicians know that there's something different going to be happening and are aware and looking out for what's going on. Now, once you get to a certain level in your singing or playing, if you're a musician as well, you get to a point where you can relax into a song and let your emotions come through as you sing or play, which is really nice because that's what people want to connect into as they follow you, either in a performance or in a congregation. Now, that's great, but the bad news is that once you get to that stage, you find you can't necessarily shut it off if you're quite an emotional sort of person. So if you're angry or you're sad, that can often translate through into your own performance as you sing or play, which isn't necessarily a great thing if you're playing in worship or leading worship. And that's another great reason to why we can focus on the Lord before we come and sing and play, because it gets us onto who he is and what he's done for us, and away from the stress and the anxiety of maybe what's happened in the day before, so we don't carry that through to our vocal performance. Now, if you go and watch any competent band, you can start to look at each band member and work out what their personalities perhaps might be through the way they play and sing. Often when people talk, we talk with masks on because we're very, very good at hiding some of the more negative things about us. But actually, often through the emotion of playing, your kind of core nature comes through. So perhaps some people are really good at leading, and they lead very well from a band. Perhaps some people lead too much and they pull the music kind of left and right, and everybody has to follow them through changes that maybe aren't as tasteful as they could be. Some people are perhaps a little bit too timid and never play out when they should and when it's their turn and when it's right for them to do so. Other people have a great gift of helps and provide a really solid base to the music. So try and work out and just look at people's personalities and intuit what they're doing through the music, because I think it's a really helpful thing to do, because then you can be aware of what's going on in you and perhaps what your strengths are and what you can bring to the team as a whole as you play through the music.